Hi everyone, and welcome to Music Theory with Lorna Katz. This is the third video in a series of educational music theory classes as being taught during our virtual rehearsals with the San Diego chorus of Sweet Adelines International. Today we will continue in the basics, specifically simple time signatures in music. What do those numbers mean at the beginning of the measure? Let's take a look. You may be asking, how do musicians know what meter is in the music? How do you count the beats in a measure, and by what is the note value that counts as a beat? The answer is in the time signature. The time signature is two numbers set up like a fraction, one on top of the other, to indicate the meter of the music. Simple time signatures. There are basically two types of time signatures commonly used in music, simple and compound. We will begin this week with the most commonly used time signatures in barbershop, simple time signatures. Simple time can be subdivided into groups of two, whereas compound time can be subdivided into groups of three. There are also two simple time signatures which do not have any numbers at all. These consist of a capital C, known as common time, and a capital C with a vertical slash through it, also known as cut time. Common time is also known as 4/4 time. And cut time literally cuts the values in half, which has this here as 2/2 time. If you remember in our last lesson, I had posted examples of a few time signatures listed on the last worksheet page, which included how to count the various rhythms. The time signatures shown in the examples were as follows: 2/4, 3/4, and 4/4. You may also recall there was a list showing each note and rest with its specific values. Let's take a quick review. The whole note is 4 beats, the half note counts as 2 beats, the quarter note counts as 1, the eighth note counts as a half beat, and the 16th note counts as a quarter of a beat. Each rest mark has a value of the same equivalence as their counterpart, their note counterpart. The whole rest has 4 beats, the half rest 2, the quarter 1, the eighth rest a half a beat, the 16th rest a quarter of a beat. There are higher value notes in music, such as 30 seconds and 64ths. But for our purposes in barbershop, we normally will go as high as probably a 16th note. It is very rare that we will do anything of a higher value. So let's tie in the note and rest values in relation to these simple time signatures. The top number in each time signature, as I'm pointing here in the simple duple, indicates how many beats there are in a measure. So in the simple duple, the top number means there are 2 beats in each measure. In the simple triple, this 3 indicates there are 3 beats per measure. The simple quadruple means there are 4 beats in a measure. Now, if you notice on simple duple, on the second part where it says division of beat, the beats can be subdivided by note values such as the eighth note. So for example, if this particular measure were subdivided, it would be 4 eighth notes. They equal 2 beats because 2 eighth notes equals 1 beat. The number on the bottom is the note value used to count as a beat. A beat is the basic unit of time and the basic pulse in each measure. For example, in all of these examples of the simple duple, triple, and quadruple, this 4 tells us that each beat is represented by quarter notes. So let's go over this again. In the examples below, each time signature uses a quarter note for each beat as indicated by the 4 in the lower number of the time signature. The upper number indicates how many beats each measure receives. Note that each example below uses a quarter note as the measurement for each beat as indicated by the lower number. The beats can also be subdivided as shown in the division of the beat in the last box of each example. Now, if you remember, I had mentioned about 2 time signatures that do not use numbers at all in the writing on the music, but they do have a specific value. Common time, indicated by the C, means that this is the most commonly used time signature in music, which is 4/4 time. There are 4 beats to measure, and it uses quarter notes. Cut time, like I'd mentioned before, literally cuts the time signature in half. And that tells us that there are 2 beats to a measure, and the unit of measurement is now become a half note. Most people will make the mistake to think that cut time is a measurement of 2 beats and the unit measurement is a quarter note, and that is incorrect. Keep in mind, cut time cuts both the number of beats and the unit being measured for the beat. These are the most commonly used time signatures in music. In our next lesson, we will go over compound time signatures. Later on in another music theory lesson during our intermediate lessons, we will learn about more complex time signatures. But for right now, we will stick with the basics: simple time signatures and compound time signatures. As mentioned before on our last sheet, there are time signatures and counting number 1. How we count beats in simple time signatures. The downbeat has a number, which is why there's a 1 here and a 2 here. For eighth notes, we normally would count the offbeat as an and. So how you would count it is 1 and 2. That's for the first measure. If we were to practice our musicianship skills in reading music, the offbeats of eighth notes in music would count as an and. In this example, 1 and 2, or 1, 2, and. So if you were to practice, it would sound something like this. Here's the beat for 2. 1, 2. 1 and 2. 1, 1, 2, and 1, 2. The reason why I elongated singing 1 in the second measure is because it's covering over 2 beats. You would do the same with any of these measures, by simply knowing how many counts there is in a particular measure. It would be beneficial if you were to go through each exercise and practice your musicianship skills in reading music. Keep in mind that each of these exercises has a different time signature to each, but all of them uses a quarter note. For example, I will go over number 2. Whenever there is a rest, what we can do to indicate that there is a rest, you can use sh as the rest indicator. For example number 2, I will give you a count of 4 and I will begin the exercise. Keep in mind, when there is a note that's elongating over more than 1 beat, you would vocalize that number. Here we go. 1, 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2, 3, 1. Practice these exercises daily, and that will improve your sight reading skills in rhythm. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Today we learned about simple time signatures in music. What do those numbers mean in the beginning of a system of music, and how do they work? Next week will be part 2, where we will go over compound time signatures. If you need a copy of the handout for today's lesson, simply go to the description of this video and click the link below for a PDF handout. If you have not yet subscribed and want to be notified of future lessons, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Bye for now.